A dancer needs no introduction, as he knows the magic of captivating people. He's a fantabulous choreographer, an unbiased judge, and a thrilling performer. Someone who has mastered true human values in handling fans, audience, and co-stars. An interview with Terence Lewis.
Who are just going to kind of...
Sorry, I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Can we fix that?
That's what Terence does when he's not dancing.
Always singing. After my workout, I'm always in my house. I'm always singing.
You must release one of shows.
No, Baba, please. Not one more. One more. Yeah.
Hi Terence, it's really a pleasure having you on this show.
Pleasure to see you again, and
thank you so much.
Always a pleasure to get interviewed by you because of the amazing questions and how at ease you put your interviewer.
Oh my God, you have made me so glad after speaking this. Terence, millions of people already know about your journey, how you have started, the challenges, the struggles, everything. But let's begin. I would really not want you to touch that flashback back again, but I certainly want to know कि आपकी entry in film industry as a choreographer कैसे हुई?
So ये एक accident हुआ. Actually मैं dance में काफ़ी असफल रहा because I was trying to teach dance.
What do you say?
Yeah, मैंने अपनी होटल मैनेजमेंट का कोर्स किया, मुझे नौकरी भी मिली थी होटल में, मैंने फ्लाइट पर से का कोर्स किया था, वो भी मुझे नौकरी मिली. बट कहीं ना कहीं मुझे डांस से बहुत लगाव था. डांस, थिएटर, सिंगिंग में बहुत शौक था. थिएटर में मुझे पता कि बहुत पैसे मिलते नहीं हैं, सिंगिंग का करियर तो होने से रहा. सो समवेयर आई फेल्ट कि डांस का जो है वो मे बी आई माइट बी एबल टू मेक इट. दैट टाइम डांस वाज नॉट सच अ बिग डील क्योंकि उस ज़माने में कोई डांस क्लासेस वगैरह होते नहीं थे. देयर वाज नो डांस रियलिटी शोज आइदर. बट समहाउ मुझे लगा कि डांस के साथ मुझे कुछ करना चाहिए बिकॉज समवेयर आई फील वेरी कॉन्फिडेंट और मैंने ऑलरेडी बहुत बच्चों को सिखाया था घर जाते जाते. बट व्हेन आई डिसाइडेड टू स्विच इनटू फ्रॉम डांस टू फ्रॉम गोइंग हाउस टू हाउस to really having an academy for myself and letting people come to me rather than me going to them, that is where I made a very big mistake because वहाँ पर मैंने calculation नहीं की थी. As a management student I failed there because वो SWOT analysis जो होता है ना, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, वो मैंने clear नहीं किया था because somewhere I didn't check कि when you go to somebody's house and teach तो वो उनकी सहूलियत होती है. They somehow it's more convenient for them. Also, I'm going to teaching children. So what happens is you don't need a driver, and even if you have a driver, conservative families will not send their daughter or their son to a class alone. Because they're that small. So what happens is the time of the parents also goes waste. So somewhere I had not calculated that. I thought ki out of goodwill for so many years I've been teaching house to house, they'll come to me. Nobody came actually. So kahin na kahin wahan par I realized that was a failure. But I said, okay, things are not working out. I must try to do something else. I realized that fitness का बहुत बड़ा craze चल रहा था. I started my fitness classes. जो फिटनेस क्लासेस मैंने शुरू की, मैंने एग्ज़ाम दिए, मैंने पास हुआ, मैं फिर वहाँ पे सफल रहा और धीरे धीरे आई वुड से नॉट धीरे धीरे बहुत जल्द इन 6 months टाइम आई वाज टीचिंग ऑल एंड एवरीबॉडी who's who of Mumbai. Somehow they really loved the fact that I was in a female dominated industry of aerobics instructors who were helping the ladies to lose weight. So, the male energy kind of really helped, and everybody started coming to my class. And
so would mind such an energetic and handsome choreographer
that
and
time I was
fitness instructor.
that was a very skinny boy. I was very young. I was around my 20s.
Right.
और वहाँ पर उस दौरान मेरी मुलाकात हुई रीना दत्ता से. Reena Datta Khan, Reena was Amir's first wife. So that time they were together and they were doing Lagan. So I was helping her lose weight and get fit, and she had come for my class, and she just threw this at me and said, ki, there's this film Lagan I'm doing and we need a choreographer for one scene. Right. So मैंने कहा कि yeah, but I don't choreograph for films. I don't know how to. I've never assisted somebody. I've never learnt anybody from anybody. I don't know. She says, no, you have to do it. The Indian choreographers will not be able to do it because it's a Viennese waltz.
Oh.
Where Amir dances with the girl, the Grace, the main actor, the female, the foreign actor.
Would you mind sharing the movie name once again?
Lagan.
Yes.
So Lagan was the movie. And that time I thought, okay, theek hai. I said, I don't know anything about camera. I don't even know this Viennese waltz. He said, you go learn somewhere and come. So coincidentally, Siddharth Roy Kapoor.
Yeah.
That time was a young boy. And I somehow knew his mother, Salome Roy Kapoor.
Okay.
And she was the one who was the only one in Mumbai city who knew the Viennese waltz. She was an authentic, ballroom dancer. So I approached her. I found out through him, through various sources that Salome teaches. So I learned the Viennese waltz. And then Amir was very clear that he wanted the Viennese waltz because it was set in 1800. So he wanted to have that authenticity of the Viennese waltz that actually existed at that time.
Wow.
So wo wala, that authenticity, that honesty in filmmaking, Amir is a stickler for all of these things. And there was Ashutosh Kuvarikar sir, and then there was Anil Mehta who was a cameraman. So I just landed up this young boy on the set, and I told them straight off, see, I don't know anything about cinema. I love cinema. I've always wanted to kind of, do films, but I never thought, Mulla ki Daud Masjid tak, I never thought in my wildest dreams that it would just come to me. It came to me by default, by coincidence. I didn't plan it. Most of my life is not planned so much. I just went, whatever came along, I took it up and tried to do my best. And that's what happened. I did it, and I worked with Webavi, who was also choreographing Ore Chori, and then I was doing the Viennese waltz section. It was a great experience, and from there, I don't know, because Lagan became such a big thing, and there were lots of young directors making new films like Jhankar Beats, and then there was Ram Gopal Verma who was doing Nach, and I was also doing my stage shows. I was also doing a lot of my stage shows, which are my contemporary dance shows. That's how I got my next movie, Jhankar Beats. That's how I got Antara Mali to watch one of my performances, and she said, I want to kind of dance like the way you do, and I want to do contemporary in this film. So Nach was my third film. So that's how I started getting films. And the day I got into television, that's the day I just said, okay, this is home. This feels right. Because somewhere I realized that this was Dance India Dance as a television show was one of those unique shows that came to me in 2009. So I started the journey in 2000. It was 9 or 10 years before I got my first break, in television. And when that happened, it was a great pleasure because it allowed me to be the choreographer I always wanted to be. Somehow films felt very restricted. It is set on the storyline. The characters also have to do certain things according to that. There is no really freedom in terms of what you can do, and you're limited because your artists are limited in doing what they could do. In the beginning, it was not easy because I was thinking in English, because although I was a boy from the Chawl, I knew how to speak Hindi, but the Hindi was Bombaya. "Ye tu kya kar raha hai bhaiya?" That kind of Hindi I had to speak because that's the Basti kind of a talk. So somewhere I never spoke Hindi that much. So somewhere you go out of touch. And when I saw my first season, after the season got over, I said, okay, let's see the entire season. I was like, oh my God, I'm terrible. I have really made such big mistakes and blunders in the gender, being very clear in the articulation. I said, I really need to brush up on my Hindi. I cannot do this if they're going to approach me the second time.
Terence, I think you're one of the finest examples in terms of letting the parents as well as children know how to balance things beautifully in terms of your academics, in terms of your passion, and in terms of achievement. You were the most pampered student by your teachers, you know.
All I remember of all my school life was I was just this boy with this big eyes, and I was like, everything fascinated me. People fascinated me. Subjects fascinated me. I just loved to know. Like I used to pick up books of my brother who was 4 years older and read his books in the holidays.
Do you remember your favorite teacher's name?
Yes, absolutely. There was a there are many. One in primary school was Penny Fonseca. Penny Fonseca was one teacher who taught me English and history, geography because she was in the 4th standard. What I loved about her, that she never treated us like children. My next teacher that I loved really much was my Hindi teacher,
Right.
Sir Thomas. He no longer, I mean, he passed away a few years ago. The other teacher there was Mrs. Hegde. She also was very important and influential because I just loved the way she carried herself as a teacher. She always wore this crisp cotton saris, okay? She always spoke so elegantly and she was classy. I always said that if I get a wife, it should be like her because she was so dignified. She was so classy. She just knew how to deal with us. And without, going, which all the teachers say, I will punish you. Typically, how
I know,
teachers
the
get
typical
in a boys'
teacher
school.
mentality, yeah.
So they always, da, 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 da. She was the only one who would just smile. She would be very sarcastic, and she would just kind of, get, and yet not mean, but she would kind of get your attention and get things done, So there was this amazing charm about her, how she conducted herself. The most amazing teacher in my life who really kind of, who I completely respect and I'm in touch with him today is Professor Jayant Prabhu. He taught me organic chemistry in St. Xavier's College. I think I've never experienced a teacher like him who was so dedicated.
Wow.
He was so dedicated because when he taught the subject, I'm not kidding you, art students used to come and sit and they would understand the subject. A teacher touches eternity. You never know where its influence ends.
Yes.
If you hang around with people who are intelligent, who are creative, who are smart, who are inspiring, there is no chance, no matter what kind of low life you've had, no matter what kind of economic, social strata you come from, your life is going to be superbly impacted if you have lived with those people for enough time to kind of, have their influence, because on the subconscious layer, they are going to completely invade you, and in a good way. I discovered a Terence Lewis that otherwise I would have never known being in India.
What was your what was that first thing that you were really waiting for a long period of time and you actually bought that once you received a big amount of money?
I think it's my house.
Really?
Yeah, it was a house that I've been hunting in Mumbai for 7 years. And I was very picky because I didn't want my house, as I opened the window, I didn't want somebody else to look into my room, any of my rooms. And I just felt that houses in Mumbai were like matchboxes. And although I come from a matchbox house, but somehow I felt that, okay, when I have a house, I just don't, because I'd seen my other friends' house. They lived in Malad and Goregaon, and there were these towers.
Yeah.
So somewhere I was really amazed at, when they had got these high rises. I loved the view. I thought, either Imperial Heights or one of those things. I grew up in a chawl. I grew up in a 220 square foot house with 8 siblings, real siblings, and 4 cousins. We slept outside, our toilets were outside, we had very minimal resources, but my mom and dad and my siblings, and especially my mom and dad, they were very hard working, and they said, even though you're born here this way, but if you really work hard, they told all of us, you can really change your destiny, and education will help you, so really educate yourself and take your education seriously. I still remember I was happy, and we all were happy, simply because we had grown up in this environment and we had accepted that this is the environment and we'll have to deal with it. So I think that has also helped all of us deal with all kinds of stress, because we lived in a stressful environment. We had to share our stuff, and my parents were the epitome of being really the nice people, because they were just so sweet. They would go out of their way to do things. They lived by example. They walked the talk. My mother was extremely dignified. My father was a proud man, very proud of his wife, my mom, because of the way she carried herself in the entire chawl. People respected my mom and dad. So I think it kind of rubbed off on us also, to live the life that they had set out for us. Very religious that time. My mom, all of us had to pray. All of us had to eat together. So we were a big family. I couldn't ever open my mouth and say, I need work. But somehow I used to create that sensation where work is to come to me. And once it came to me, I would make sure it never went out of my hands. Once the work, I had a huge problem asking for work, you know, or going, like I used to train Madhuri, I used to train the Khans, I used to train all of them, but I never had the guts to say, can you introduce me to the film world and can I become a choreographer? Never. I just wouldn't be able to go and say, and they loved me. Like all of these Khans' wives, you know, they were all beautiful women, really, really beautiful as people also, helping them lose weight. And I had a great rapport with them, also with, you know, all the big stars. But I never could possibly open my mouth and say, sir, you know, I'm a choreographer also and I would love to get an entry. Just couldn't. It wouldn't come out of my mouth. I guess I need to kind of learn that it's not good to be this proud.
You didn't have to. You didn't have to ask for work.
I guess I just felt that, you know, if I'm really talented and if I'm really worthy, you know, it will come to me at the right time. So I always felt that I'm putting my work out there, but I'm not going to force people to kind of give me work because I feel I want to get it on merit. I also feel that if you genuinely work towards what you love doing, I kid you not, that sensation of doing what you're doing, what you love, there can be no bigger reward. I've had this, obsession for, you know, breaking my own, you know, stereotype of who I am constantly. You know, I was in a certain look, I looked a certain way, I wanted to change that. I felt I was perceived in a certain way, I wanted to change that. I just love the idea of breaking all the perceptions that people have, because I think that gives me a kick. And I kind of gauge it and I say, okay, let's bring on a new aspect to myself that will completely be something that people have not expected. And I think I like that as a challenge. That's why even in Nachpali, when I came back as a judge, I had completely transformed my look, my face, my features, everything, simply because I thought I wanted to kind of change and rise up to another task, another
break
situation,
the monotony,
break the monotony of how I am. So yeah, so I like that. I love that aspect of my life.
So we are doing this as per the pratha of my show. Usually we ask all our guests to light a candle and leave a beautiful message for their fans. Terence, I want you to do the same thing.
So let the light which is outside light the light within each one of us, and may we shine to the highest potential that we were always meant to be. May our frequencies really rise up and our energy and vibrations really light ourselves and the people around us.
Wow, thank you so much, Terence, for coming on this show.
Pleasure.
And for doing this, for all your fans, for your loved ones,
Pleasure.
everybody.
Thank you.